doing here, Abby? Well, I thought it would be a really good idea to start a conversation, a little bit more in-depth conversation about craft industry in general.
Yeah.
Because I feel no one is really talking about it openly and honestly, and maybe giving point of view. There's a lot of discussions on Facebook, etc. But we both come from craft industry. You are in soft crafts.
Yeah.
I'm in mixed media and paper crafts. And I thought it would be good to really do a little bit of commentary on what is going on.
Yep.
On craft industry as a whole, on the whole situation with craft channels, on women working in craft industry,
Yeah.
and on copyright issues. So I've got the whole kind of idea for the series, but I thought it would be good to start from working with TV channel in general.
Definitely.
So, welcome everyone.
Hi.
We are going to be posting this on Facebook.
Yep.
But we're doing this as a podcast, so we may not necessarily just look in the camera all the time. It's meant to be more something you listen in a car or just listen over a cup of tea rather than actually watch us as such.
Yeah. Or when you go for your nice walk of a morning, listen to us.
Yes. That's the plan. So I think it would be a good idea for anyone who doesn't know us, which is probably a lot of people who don't know us, to give a little bit of background. Do you want to start?
Sure. So I in soft crafts. I run my own company called Avid Crafts. I used to work for Crafter's Companion, and I have the business from home. I have 3 children. I've sewn pretty much for as long as I can remember, and it's a passion, and that's pretty much where I am. What about you?
So I've been I loved crafting for a very long time, and I've been crafting for probably about 15 years now. And I started Craft Box 4 years ago, and we started with a subscription box for crafters, and we developed from there. And then 2 years ago we started Creative Craft Academy.
Yes.
So that's the background.
I can't believe it's only been 4 years.
I know.
I feel like it's been longer than that. That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I think partially because a lot of the things happened because of your mum.
Bless her.
Yeah, it did happen. A lot happened because of your mum. I think particularly me working with the TV as such.
Yeah.
And obviously she introduced me to the craft channel.
Yes.
Which is another discussion now I'm happy to cover in this video, just to kind of maybe be this being a useful resource for anyone who's starting crafts and thinking of working with TV, of how to cover the basis and learn on someone else's mistakes. But that has nothing to do with your mum, of course. So it happened that your mum was working for the craft channel when it all went down.
Yeah.
But I think if it wasn't for your mum, I don't think I would even think about working with TV.
Yeah.
In general.
Because a lot of the times people aren't aware of it.
Yeah.
If you know it,
Yeah.
and you love it, and it's fantastic. But if I've had a lot of people say to me, so what do you do? When I tell them, they go, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So maybe you might not even know, and especially because you weren't brought up in the UK, so you don't necessarily know these avenues. So I think that's really interesting. Yeah, no, it's good.
I had a chat with someone from the Craft Association, and he said to me, look, there's only a very small number of crafters that actually knows about the craft channels and that they exist.
Yeah.
A lot of people buy online, a lot of people go to their local shop, and that's how they source their supplies, and not everyone knows. I mean, actually, in fact, a small number of crafters, small portion of crafters knows about craft channels.
Definitely.
So, but I think it's an adventure in itself, working with a craft channel.
Absolutely.
And the purpose of this whole thing is to tell you all about it. Right. Do you want to talk about how you started with working with Hochanda, and like how that journey, from what point in the life cycle of your company you started working with Hochanda, and how your relationship with Hochanda started?
Yeah. So I was obviously working for Crafter's Companion. I was working for their soft craft brand Threaders with Mum, and that's how I sort of got started. They were looking for another person, and I sort of said, I can do that. And my mum said, yeah, you could. And then I was like, no, actually, no. You know, when you're a bit of a big mouth and you go, I could do that. And then you think, actually, no, I couldn't. And so she said, no, you can. Mm-hmm. So I had my first show with Yanis, and I had the flu, like full on flu. I was so ill. I got up 10 minutes before my mum arrived to pick me up. we'd got up at 4 because we had a 7 a.m. show or an 8 a.m. show, and I was so ill. But it went really well, and I did lots of shows with them. And then I sort of got thinking, like, I loved all their products, but I also thought I could do my own things. And I really wanted to be creative with my own stuff. And not just my own stuff, but other brands of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'll start a website, and I'll put on the things that I like. So Crafters Companion and I parted company, and I approached Hochanda, and I said, look, I'm starting my own business. I would really love to come on if you would have me. What's the process? What do I have to do?
Yeah.
And they sort of said, you need to come in, have a meeting, talk about what products you want to bring, all that sort of thing. And so I did that. And then 3 months later, I had my first shows. And so it was quite a big build-up from leaving Crafters Companion, starting my website, and then I had 3 months to my first show. So it was sort of putting it all in the groundwork of what products I really liked and what I thought other people would really like. And then, I did my show, and we had some sellouts on the first show, so I was beyond happy with that. And then I've done loads since, and I'm there all the time. And I love it, and I do love it there. Yeah. And it's a bit cliche, but it is like a family there, and you walk in and everyone's so happy to see you. Normally because I feed them, I take cake with me.
Feed me. I know. I need feeding.
I know, you fed me today, so I'm quite pleased about that. But so that was how I sort of got into Hochanda. And I know that you obviously started at the Craft Channel. So how did you go from, obviously you had quite a traumatic experience. How did you pick yourself up from that and go to Hochanda?
So it was actually really interesting, this aspect, and I don't think I've told many people. I did tell my story about the Craft Channel because I felt it needed telling. Yeah. So we, I was approached by, actually, not many people know that, but I was approached by Create and Craft US to demonstrate for them. Right. And I went on the trial audition, as they called it back then, and I failed.
Oh no!
Yeah, I failed because I did not connect my heat gun, and I had a very limited actually experience with any TV. And I didn't connect my heat gun, and I just kept looking at the floor manager to help me. Yeah. And and I knew I failed the moment because I just kept pretty much staring at her, not at the camera, whilst the presenter or who was doing a trial. But lessons learned from that. They did email me then and said, oh, maybe we'll do something with you, and I was like, oh, whatever. And then I was at the Craft Channel approached me. And they said, oh, we love the boxes. Yeah. Would you like to do a box for us, like exclusive box for us? And I was over the moon. I was running the business at home. I just loved the whole idea, the TV, etc. And I said, yes, let's do this. So long story short, because obviously there's lots of prep, which we will talk about in some other episodes, I hope. About we're talking about the top tip of the iceberg. What everyone sees is not what's going on. But the long story short is that we did make 200 boxes, and we did. I did go on air with Rosella and Lizzie, who your mum. Yeah. And I know they were both fighting quite hard to be the presenters on my show. Yeah. Because the channel was dominated by some other personalities who like to have first dips at them. And certain, high demand products. Yeah. So I was with them, and I didn't demo at all because everything sold out. And you know what? And it was just I was so elated. I was so happy. And the buyer who was working with me, and then I think that there was even, I think, the owner of the Craft Channel. I don't really want to misrepresent it, but someone quite high in that company came to my husband, who was watching from a side of the studio. Because it sold out so quickly, and he said to my husband, we never had a product that sold so quickly. Wow. we sold a crazy amount of units in a very short period of time, and everyone was happy. Everyone was happy tears, and I was so elated. I didn't really realize why is everyone nearly crying that my product sold so well, but it was great.
Yeah.
So we went home and we packed and we sent everything, and we had to pay shipping because the craft channel worked differently to the way Hochanda works.
Right.
And we sent everything out, and then I started hearing things. That there are issues with payments, that there are problems in the craft channel, my go in administration, and I just started hearing really, really worrying things. So I sent my invoice straight away, and in the meantime, I was already asked to buy stock for next month's boxes, and they wanted 800.
Wow.
And I obliged.
Oh my goodness.
So I bought 800 branded boxes, the craft channel boxes. I bought everything, 800 of everything that goes in our craft boxes, which is 15 products.
Yeah.
Enough for 800, and boxes to ribbon tie them, to tissue them, to do all of that. So, nevertheless, I obviously the craft channel did go down. I never saw this money. We lost lots of money. I still have to this day stock they asked me to buy, because they also asked me to buy some stuff for Prima Marketing.
Right.
And somewhere in around that drama, or right before that drama started with, oh my gosh, they're going down, I'm not going to be paid, Hochanda approached me, and my buyer Sam approached me, and she said, would you be interested in working with us? And I was like, I had that email typed up saying I'm actually really happy at the craft channel, and how weird is that? I was so ready to tell her I'm really happy at the craft channel. I'm quite loyal, and when things are going well, then they're going well. And then all of this started, and I said, do you know what, I want to meet up, because I have a feeling. Yeah. So I met up, and my husband Mark and I went to see Sam, and and it was just. I was sitting there thinking the same thing's going to happen again. What she's saying to me is not true. It's gonna fall down. We're gonna do the first show. I'm not gonna get paid for it. I was absolutely freaking out. Yeah. My trust has been bottom low, and it's been very hard to pick up. I had to put a lot of savings into the business because we just lost it on stock, which we couldn't shift in that quantity. We were not there at that point in time to shift 800 of something. Yeah. So we, and then obviously the boxes had to be discarded,
and because they were all branded with the craft
foiled, so it was really hard, and I think that some of the hardest, the trust issues, like with any breakdown relationship, is the trust issues that you have afterwards. Yeah. And I really struggle with that aspect, because when I did my first show on Hochanda, and it did go well, because they do a trial on a new supplier, where they have certain target, and if the new supplier meets those targets, that's great. If not, then I don't actually know what happened. Thankfully, I have met the target for a new supplier. Yeah. They kind of judges if they have potential, or maybe they need a bit more work, or I don't know how that exactly works. What exactly happens if the supplier doesn't meet that target for the first show. But we have thankfully met the target, and you know what, straight away I sent an invoice, and I was like, will I get paid? Yeah. That was the thing. And thankfully, every single month I was paid by Hochanda, and never had a single issue. No. Despite of this, some rumours that may be circulating, I can testify that I have been paid promptly every month.
Same, especially when there was a rumour that went round saying that suppliers weren't going to be paid. Yeah. And it was a couple of days later, end of the month, and I was paid, and I was like, okay, so, and I've been paid since. Yeah. But I think that's where I had an advantage when I started my own, is that I don't think I was really classed as a new supplier, because people already knew me, and they knew me at Hochanda, so it was almost just putting a different hat on. Yeah. And so I definitely had an advantage. I wasn't going in like I see a lot of new people starting, and they're all nervous and all that, and I always try and chat to them, and always try and make them feel like you're doing it, you're brilliant, go, smash it. Yeah. But I feel like I definitely had an advantage, because I'd done 80 odd shows. Yeah. So I feel like that was. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, my first shows ever, I was petrified. But isn't it funny though? You feel so calm and relaxed doing it because it's so normal.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, aren't you terrified?"
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's a lot of I don't think many people realise that there's actually there is, you do need to go through those 50, 60 shows to start feeling this way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, do you sometimes still have anxiety, like when when your head stuff is going on, when you think about the things, I don't know, your children maybe unwell, or something else that is going through your head, and then you're about to do a show. Do you struggle with that?
Yeah,
sometimes?
I do. And in fact, during one show, it was with my business. No, it wasn't. It was with crafters, and something it wasn't selling well, or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't going overly well. And I started to feel really anxious, really like, oh, I'm letting people down, like they're relying on me. And it went to a website clip or something, and I was with Charlie. And I turned to Charlie, our microphones are off, I turned to Charlie and said, Charlie, I don't feel well.
Yeah.
I said, I really don't feel very well. And I just sat on the floor.
Did you?
And he looked at me and went, it's okay, mate, don't worry.
Yeah.
And it came back to him, and he carried on, and he walked down the counter and took the cameras away.
Yeah.
And I sort of just sat there for a minute, and I was like, okay. And I think it was Shana bought me water over.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know, I'm fine now. I'm fine. You have to sort of go through it, process it, box it. And they're like, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. And I think I was maybe 10 shows in or something. And I was on my own, because my first few shows were with my mum. Yeah. So she was like my safety blanket. And I was like, oh, people are relying on me. And then I got up and I was like, I'm fine. And Charlie was like, are you sure you're okay? Like, I can do it by myself. It's fine. I was like, no, it's absolutely fine. And for that reason, Charlie will always be one of my favourites, because I felt like it wasn't about what product we had. It wasn't about our targets. It was they wanted me to be okay. And it really made me feel like, okay, you care about me. It's not just what I'm doing. You care about me as a person. I do like it there. That's
actually really interesting, because I don't know if you saw, there was a conversation on Crafting Hochanda group recently about the fact that the demo times are getting less, and that the selling part is getting more, and a lot of people chipped in, some demonstrators as well, and Catherine Sturrock, she chipped in, and she basically said, you don't know what is going on behind the scenes. You don't know, and I think she might have mentioned that maybe demonstrators not feeling very well, and obviously that doesn't happen in every single show. But it's really interesting that sometimes, it's a live show. It's not something that's pre-recorded. These things will happen, and then those presenters who already have, they've already tried to listen to you and what's going on with you, who listen to director, who listen to producer in the ear, who look at the floor manager, who look in the camera, and then who need to remember the brief about the products and sell the products and make sure that everything's on time. All that is going on in their head, and then there's just so much going on.
Yeah, there is so many things happening, and you might have people, when the demonstrator's talking, you might have someone, a person approaching the presenter to tell them maybe their microphone's not working, maybe they need to change batteries, maybe can we do this? Have you got this? There's so much happening, and I think the presenters, they're almost like they've got to be omnipresent. They've got to hear all this that's going on in their ear. They've got to hear the demonstrator. They've also got to be mindful of, have people contacted in and said, can you show this again? Or is what comes in this bundle? What are we getting? So I'm loving that you're demonstrating it, but what is the complete thing? So they'll want to show it because someone's asked. And they do. A lot of the time, if people have asked questions, they do answer the questions. And also, if something's not selling well, and you have to remember, it is a selling channel. That's the whole point of that's how they can survive, to sell product. If something isn't selling well, the producer will tell the presenter, and the presenter gives the demonstrator cues to switch it up, to change it to something else. Like, people aren't enjoying it, let's do this. So personally, I feel like I get more than enough demo time. And I'll often say, I've prepared this and this, but if you want me to do more, this is what I can do. Let me know. And they'll say in my ear, Abby, have you got something else you can do? Because that's great, but we've still got more time. Yeah, I can do something else, no problem. So I personally feel like, Yanis, if he has to interrupt, he'll always apologise. He'll always say, I'm ever so sorry, I've just got to stop you, I need to say this. And I have no problem with that. Like, you do it. You've got to do your job. I have to do my job. If we can work together brilliantly, and luckily they all work, they all get it. There's not one of them that just starts talking over you. Mm-hmm. They all say, can I just stop you? Mm-hmm. Or, I've just got to say a quick update. Mm-hmm. And just to be quiet for a minute. Yeah. Like, take your cue.
Yeah. Shh. Funny enough, the presenters who have ever talked over me are no longer with the business.
Yeah. See, I feel it's really important.
Which only means that, and they're not in the business any longer because of me.
You got them out.
That probably sounded really bad, but no, it wasn't that. It just shows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That that's either and presenters like Yanis, like Charlie, they are quite from our perspective as demonstrators, because they kind of tune in. I mean, all the presenters are amazing. The current lineup is absolutely fantastic.
Oh yes, it is.
But I've worked with some more than I've worked with the others. I haven't worked with Alex since she joined.
Oh, I love Alex.
She's lovely. She really is lovely. But I haven't worked with her. But I did watch some of her shows, and I see she's warming up. She's kind of going back to that.
Definitely.
To that.
I like she asks questions. Yeah, she doesn't know, she'll ask.
Yeah, she's
and
so
that's,
interesting.
Yeah, that's what we need as a viewer.
Yeah. Because
I don't know a lot of paper craft things.
Yeah.
But if Alex asks, I'll know.
Yeah.
She's great, and I did some shows with her a couple of years ago, and. She was very, very engaged, asking lots of questions, and I really like that. And the conversation flows, because I'll often just talk. Mm-hmm. I'll talk until you tell me to shush. Like, I'll
not tell you to shush.
I'll just go in, and it's like that dead air. I don't want any silence, and I will literally carry on until I can feel the person next to me has something to say, or someone says, "Shush now, Abby." Okay, oh shush. But a lot of demonstrators, they don't do that. They'll take the cue from the presenter.
Yeah.
Like, they'll answer the question.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that's the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
Whereas you and I.
Yeah. We just don't want the silences.
Exactly.
We know how that works.
Yeah.
And I've actually seen one of the shows. And that was with Alex, with the demonstrator, who was very, very focused on what she was doing. She was colouring something, and and she was definitely very focused on that. And then Alex was trying to kind of get some information, get the conversation. But that just goes again as a testament to what these guys are doing.
Yes.
Because they need to adapt. If you think like every other hour they do a show, and they need to adapt to people's personalities, and someone may be super bubbly, someone may be talking too much, so they need to shush them. Yeah. Someone may be not talking enough, so they need to keep talking.
Completely.
Or try to get something out of this demonstrator.
I think they know within the first few minutes how they have to address the show. Yeah. And as you say, that's a skill. They have to figure that out, and they do. I feel like they get the balance really well, and you can see they're calming people's nerves, and no, you're going to be fine, and they're constantly geeing people up. We're all going towards the same goal. We all want the show to succeed. No one in that building wants you to fail, so everyone is on your side, which is so you don't get that in hardly any places. Not everyone is going towards the same goal. You've got departments doing this, departments doing that. But at the end of the day, they want you to succeed. And I love it when new people are starting and you see the presenter going, no, you're going to be fine. There was a show, one of the ladies, she did unicorn spit. And it was her first shows. And I can't remember. Oh, it was with Catherine. And Catherine was going, don't worry, you're going to be absolutely fine. You're doing great. No, you're doing great. And she was getting a bit nervy. Again, no, you're doing fantastic. Yeah. And you do need that reassurance.
You do need the reassurance, yeah.
Not now. I don't care.
Fine.
You're doing rubbish, Abby. Don't care.
No.
No, not at all.
So I did want to ask you something, and this is I hope this is interesting in general, but this is something interesting for me. So you are on talkback and I'm on TalkBack as
Yeah.
well. So for those of you who don't know what TalkBack is, it's basically that little white tube that we have in our ear so that we can hear people in the gallery. So the gallery is where the producer and the director sit. So obviously that is in another part of the building. It's basically a room with a lot of the screens,
Yeah.
and where they're giving us directions. And the producer's role, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm going to butcher this, but this is purely from what I'm going to hear in my ear. So the producer's role is really to produce the show in the aspect of, here is a stock update, this is what's selling, this is what the interest is, we're getting things in our location, etc.
Yeah.
And do you want to speed up this demo? Do you want to, you've still got a few minutes, you're fine.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. Whilst the director is saying, which way the camera is pointing, which camera you need to be looking at, are you in vision, are you on vision, in vision, whatever, or not. And then they also, all of them come to us before the show, and we discuss all this. They all have their very distinct roles, but this is what's going on in my ear. So this is a description from my ear, more than the actual, job descriptions. I'm really sorry, producers and directors at Hochanda. I love you all.
But again, it's that iceberg thing.
Yes.
We see that bit.
Exactly.
Like there's all this stuff going on under.
Way more.
We don't know that.
Yeah, there's way more. But so going back, so TalkBack is us hearing what producer and directors say. Yeah. Right. So I know that you have the full gallery on, so you hear both producer and director. I choose not to hear the director because I find it very distracting to hear vision in your hand, this camera, etc. I find it hard to focus on that. And all I really want to know is if people who are watching seem to be more interested in that aspect or that aspect of my demo. And we see that through allocations, through sales, through phone queues, etc. Yeah. So I've got the producer on my ear. How are you finding it?
Well, when I did my first show, it was horrendous because I had it up too loud. So I was shouting. So this is what I'm doing, and I hope you can hear. Like, it was ridiculous, and I had to take it out because I couldn't function. I couldn't hear people talking while I was talking, but also you can block them out sometimes, but also you need to still slightly be able to know what they're saying. Yeah. So it's a talking while listening, and it blew my mind. But now I find it really just a breeze, and I feel like I'd be lost without it. Right. Because I like to hear, like they might say something like if we're at the counter and we're talking about the first product, they might go, right, moving on to the next thing. I know to stop talking about that product because I'm a talker. Yeah. I'll talk until you tell me not to, and if no one's telling me not to, we could be there 10 minutes. So it's helpful to know, right, moving on. Or they'll say something like, right, people are popping these into their baskets. Can we talk some more about it? Brilliant, we can. So I do like that. And now it's sort of second nature. Yeah. I haven't done many shows with it, but I feel like I don't have it on too loud either. I just have it just there, just voices in my head. Yeah. And it's great as well because if you're off camera and the presenter's doing something, they can ask you things, and if you nod or shake your head at the floor manager, they can then talk via their little headset to the gallery and relay information. So it's a two-way tool. I really enjoy it. And you don't have the director. Yeah, I don't have the director. I only have the producer. And for the first few shows, I also asked the producer kind of switches off the kind of, I call it unnecessary chatter. Just this is being purely businesslike. Yeah. The chatter. So I just hear, where is the interest? What do we need to focus on? Or if there's, for example, no interest in the product, then I want to know this because perhaps I know something that the customers do not know. And there was one specific product actually in one of my shows where
I heard from the producer who said there's no interest in that product, and that's actually you do have to be able to respond to this with your actions, but without emotion.
Yes.
Because it's always hurtful to hear something is not selling.
Yes, you've still got to keep up your enthusiasm.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you start to go downhill, then it's not interesting to watch.
So she said there's no interest in this product, and I was in my head, I was like, why there's no interest in this product? I know this product is amazing, and I know if we break down the value of this product, then hopefully I will be able to show what an amazing deal, and it was an amazing deal, and I was very surprised. So what we've done is I said to Yanis, can we go through individual products in that bundle to show everyone what an amazing deal it is? And we have, and you know, this was a product that was just under £50, and it was worth just over £80 if you were to buy a retail, and they were all fantastic products. And once we showed this and demonstrated this, there was a lot of interest. So this is for me, you know, that is the important bit. It's like if I really want everyone to get the best value and they get best enjoyment. But I'm only able to do this if I know where the interest is. And if there isn't in particular product, then well, it's so tough. You know, it happens that some products, not everyone is interested in that product. Maybe it's not the right product for the show. Maybe people who are genuinely interested in that product are not watching this time. You know, so that's fine. But sometimes when you think this should really, really be popular, and I know how to show everyone that's such a fantastic deal. So that is where it's beneficial. But I can't take the full whack.
No.
I really can't.
Well, I had one where I bought out my pressing mat, and there was a huge list of reasons why the mat was great. And I knew for a fact that I wouldn't remember them all, even though it's my product. During the show, sometimes your mind just goes.
Exactly.
I wasn't going to remember them all. If I told the presenter all of them, there's no way they were going to remember them all. So I wrote them all out, emailed them to production, they printed it off.
That's
so
amazing.
In the gallery, they had every single thing that was good about this product.
That is such a good idea.
So they could tell me and Yanis and I, or Charlie and I, the things. So Yanis was saying, so this product is, and he would list them off, and then, or there'd be another fact that he could say later on in the show. So it worked beautifully.
That is really
because a lot of the things I hadn't said. Like some of them I'd said because I remembered them, and other things I hadn't. And when he came through with them, like the depth of the mat and all that sort of thing, I was like,
that is
so
a really
useful.
Good idea.
That's and also people need to know this stuff, and it's useful to just. It's like a little crib sheet. Give them all the information, and they can drip feed it through. They are. It's like they're like the little angel that gives you all the stuff. And you just filter. And sometimes it's great because they can. A lot of them are crafters. Like when Nikki used to produce, and she is a brilliant crafter, she would give ideas of how you could use the product. So she would tell the presenter, oh, you could do this with it, you could do that with it. And they would give that information across, which I love because it gives another perspective. I do. And I quite like the chatter. And before you go live, they're saying, oh, we can hear your mic and all that, and you have a laugh and a joke. I normally have a dance before I start. There was one time though where Leonie and I were checking our teeth for lipstick, and it went live, and we were going like, across our teeth, and then we went, oh, we're just
hello everyone.
We're just checking lipstick. Oh.
But these I find these the most hilarious things. I know not everyone enjoys this. It's how unprofessional. But you know, some people just really enjoy that human level. Seeing that you are a human being. You're not just there, you know, just after someone's money. You're a human being that just like all of us that are just trying to make a living.
Exactly.
And
I like that. And I like watching shows where things like that happen. It brings me enjoyment, and like Matt, oh my goodness, he cracks me up so much.
I love him.
He was doing a price drop, and I was on the set next to him, so they moved all the set over to get the price drop stuff, and so I was right near him. He was, you know, and they have to talk, they're on their own, and they have to talk for that amount of time, like good evening Hochanda, good morning Hochanda. It's an hour of them talking, and he was just, it was joke, and he had me crying, laughter, and I was howling in the studio, and I was trying to hold it all in, And when he came off, I said, Matt, that was hilarious. You're so funny. And he was like, oh, no, it's no. Then, a few shows later, we were stood together, and just before we went on, he said to me, actually, I want to say thank you, because we don't take compliments we don't take them well, and you gave me a compliment. I was like, oh no, but I just wanted to say thank you. And I was like, well, no, because you're giving me the entertainment. I'm thanking you. I find him hilarious. Like, he's modelled my bags and just strutted across, and I just think he's just so funny.
He is so sweet.
He is so sweet. And if shows haven't gone so well, he's always, I'm so sorry.
I know, he takes it very personally, which is sweet.
Yeah, and I go, no, Matt, it's not you. It's absolutely fine. Like, it's not you. It's the product, or it's people watching aren't engaging with the product. But he does take it personally. But I just think that's another thing that I love about him. I just think he's lovely.
Oh, definitely. I had so many sweet shows with Matt. I love him, and he always goes back to this situation, because I do a lot of mixed media stuff, so he goes back to the situation. Didn't happen on my show. It happened on someone else's show when he spilled the entire pot of paint just there on that show for a demonstrator, and it just he always goes back to it, and said, oh, I asked them about the situation, so it's quite hilarious. But yeah, thankfully it didn't happen. I'm really careful with the paint around on this situation.
Put it to one side. Did you ever do any of the Dutch shows?
I did.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't fathom that at all. Because they speak to you in English, but all the updates and everything was in Dutch. But because, as talkers, we like to, when they're doing an update, like to chip in. You couldn't chip in.
No,
you just didn't know.
You just look at it. You just look at the presenter.
You're like
and smile.
You could be agreeing to anything. Oh, right, no, you're talking in English. That's my cue. Yeah, they were I like to do them.
Yeah.
But I found them very tricky.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Hochanda's not doing that anymore. They're not streaming to I was supposed to say Dutch London, I'm really sorry, to Netherlands. But yeah, it's again, from my perspective, I think it's kudos to Hochanda for trying.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant, and also in a whole kind of lean startup concept. I come from a lot of startups when I worked in the games industry. So in my head, it always goes like, just try something, fail quickly, move on.
Yeah.
And obviously if it works, then stick with it.
Yeah.
But
fail well.
Yeah, exactly. So with they tried. It hasn't worked perhaps as well, because if it worked, I don't have any information on that, but if it worked, it would still be here. But then they just moved on to the next thing. I think that's really important in business, and that's why I like Hochanda, because they try things.
Yes.
They try to improve things, change things, and if it doesn't work, then they move on, change it back, and I think that's important. And a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are quite set on a specific format, and perhaps do not like change. I think as human beings, we generally quite resistant to change.
Yeah.
But we need to also understand that change is so... I mean, the only way a progress happens is through change.
Definitely.
If everything ever stays the same, then nothing ever improves and nothing ever changes.
Completely. And also, like for instance, the craft price drop changed to Good Morning, Good Evening, Hochanda. A lot of people are like, wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
You've listened to our feedback.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people loved craft price drop, and I really like craft price drop.
I got some good deals.
Yeah, me too. And I like to talk to the people in the comments and get really involved, and it would still be thrilling if the presenter would say, Abby's watching. Like,
yeah, I know.
It's me.
Yeah.
But I really liked it, but some people didn't like it. And when they changed it up, I feel like now they've got the balance. They've still got the people chatting on Facebook.
Yeah.
They've still got the presenter doing a similar thing, but just in a different format, going through the counter.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people like about Hochanda, is that counter, the setup, the studio. So I feel like they've bought in the elements people liked and created this new format. And I love that people can go on and talk about what products they're bringing in the day, and they do like the star items of the day. I think that's fab, because it's very... The channel it's very quick to move on from hour to hour because they have to.
Yes.
You know, they might have you 1 hour and then me the next hour. They're not going to refer to your product during my show because it bears no relevance.
Yeah.
But I don't mind saying to people, like I had a show with Trisha, So Totally Trisha. She had a ODS, one day special, and I was referring, say, buy my fabric and make Trisha's bag. Like that's what you could do. It'd be brilliant. Like I like to do that. I think it helps everybody, and I feel like that's what those Good Evening, Good Morning do. They bring it all together and they say, look, we've had these are our amazing buys for the day. Look at this, and this. And I really like that.
Yeah, because could they do all stars?
Yes, all stars. That's it.
Yeah. Is that? I don't know how many products. I haven't watched that actually. I haven't caught the all stars bits.
I think there's 4.
Oh, okay. Is that for like entire day?
Yeah.
That was the most popular. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And I really like that. I think that's fab. And also it helps the business because, you know, people that are watching my shows watch because they like soft craft.
Yeah.
And people that are watching Good Evening, Good Morning, they might like everything. So perhaps they've seen my product on there. They wouldn't have seen it before because they wouldn't have watched my show. But they might think, oh, so-and-so might like that. So-and-so, you know. So it does help and gives you a wider audience. And they might think, oh, actually, I like that. Maybe I'll watch the show that they do the next time. Which I think can only help everyone, can only be beneficial to everybody. So when you get your show sheet, so when you're booked for your show, tell me about the process of you're booked for the hours, what happens?
Well, to start with, you've got to do your own show sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you tell Hochanda what products you're going to be selling, at what price you would like to sell them to Hochanda, for how many of each product you're going to have, and if sometimes matters like extended delivery I discussed beforehand. And then so you send this out, then you need to send the samples of the actual products to so that they can be photographed, and then you need to send the iCards, which is basically all the information that goes onto the website.
Yes.
With all the features. There's a specific template that we need to fill in for every single product we're selling. So that in itself is quite a lot of admin work.
It is, isn't it? It surprised me to be, because I was always given it. It wasn't I didn't have to do it. Yeah. So that's a lot of work. Yeah.
And then obviously you need to prepare yourself for the show. You need to have all the products ready, which sometimes is a challenge as well. Yeah. Because you really want to sell something on the show, and you know you have a big batch of it coming in, say 2 days. Yeah. But you want to have it, you want to have it on the show already. So then you may want to take a risk if you want to show someone and then have it, in 2 days, start dispatching, etc. So all that stuff, all that planning goes into it. Then, you get your demos ready, which again using a lot of product to make it happen, and then you're spending a lot of time to getting it ready. You're putting all in boxes, or you're just planning in your head. These days I started to write down what I want to do, and some demos, the more complicated ones, I've got prepared beforehand. The simpler ones, I just write down steps and I do on air. And then the day of the show comes, so you need to be in the studio 2 hours before every show. Yeah. Or 2 hours before the first show, and I think 1.5 hours before every next show. Yeah. So you can't just disappear and just stroll in 10 minutes before your second show starts. Yeah. So you walk into the studio with this whole trolley of samples and products and everything you're going to be demonstrating, and
trying to be quiet at the same time.
Yes, trying to be quiet. So then you're in the studio 2 hours before the show. You go to your set. You set up everything that you're going to be selling, and you scatter your samples, and then you just pretty much get prepared. You set out your demos. You kind of get in a zone, and that's my process. So especially if I really like when I have an early morning show, because at 6 o'clock there's no one in the studio. Yes. There is no show going on yet, because you need to know that from 7 o'clock there are live shows, so you need to be super quiet. And then I usually go to the green room and chill out for a bit, And then 45 minutes before the show, you have a meeting with your producer, your director, your presenter, and the floor manager, talking through all the products, stock, what you're going to be doing, and how the show is going to be structured, how they're going to start, and basically everything that is going to be happening during this hour.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes before you're about to go on air, you get mic'd up. So you get to 2 packs for both of us. You get 2 packs to put on our belt, so just behind us. So one is for a microphone, the other one is for our talk back. And then the microphone goes on the front, it gets clipped on the front, our talk back is threaded through the back and goes in our ear. And then you go to the studio, and I usually just try to get in the zone, try to get focused. Presenter comes in, you have a little chit chat, then you check if all the tech works, if you can hear the producer and director in your ear. And then the floor manager tells you 30 seconds or 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then you go on air. So that is that. And
that is so skimming the surface of every single one of those steps, because every single one of those steps is an involved process. Like when you sit down with all the people and talk about the show, 45 minutes before, that's a long conversation.
That is,
and you all go through to the studio and look at all the products, and if there's anything what I like is that they'll take your they'll take your advice, not advice, but they'll take your suggestions. Like for instance, if you think you should open with what's called a wow shot of you using the product and the presenter talking, but you can't see them, you can only see you using the product, you can suggest it, you can say, do you think that we should do this? Do you think we should do that? And the producers likewise will say, do you think that we should do this? Or how long do you think this demo is going to take? Do you think we can move to this? So even that's such an involved, every single one of those steps is such an involved process. It's so easy to watch the channel and think you turned up half an hour before and you're showing this.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's like...
It really isn't.
It's hours and hours of work to get to that point.
Yeah.
Not only, sourcing your product, pricing your product, all of that stuff. So I think it's really interesting that like people that go on the dream days can see... oh, that person's in the studio and they haven't got their show for 2 hours and look at what they're doing, they're setting up, they're working, they're looking at all this stuff. And I like to get everything done within the first 45 minutes of being there, so then I can chill in the green room for ages, because I talk. Yeah. So I sit there, talk to people, ask them their life stories.
That's why you're here.
That's exactly, because I can talk. And I like that. And oftentimes on a weekend when it's really cool, at the weekend, the office staff aren't there.
Yeah, so it's quiet.
Yeah. So I find myself going and sitting with the backstage team.
Oh, really?
Because there's not many, like, if there's people that perhaps they've gone out, like demonstrators that have gone out for lunch, things, there's no one in the green room. I'll just go and find some other people.
Just snore on the sofa.
Yeah, I just go off. You'll snore. I'll just go off and find people. Like, is there anything you want me to do? Or can I sit here while you work?
Aww.
And they're like, of course. Like, just make yourself at home. And I just sit there.
That is really sweet.
But you feel like you can.
Yeah.
Like, I try not to get in their way. And I won't distract them from their job. But I want to be with people. So I'd rather sit in their environment than sit by myself. And then I take cake, so they don't really have a choice.
Cake is always a good idea.
Like if we say no, is she never going to bring cake again?
And then the show ends, or shows end, and what happens next?
Well, you'll always thank the presenter, and the presenter always thanks you. They say, great show, even if it was rubbish, great show, well done. Yeah, well done to you, thanks so much, that's so kind, thank you. And then the producer will come through and tell you how the show went, what sort of money you took, if you've got another show that day, they'll perhaps say, oh, you're with so-and-so later, I'll pass the notes over. And then I always just get my trolley, scoop everything on, and then I'm out the door.
I do exactly the same thing.
I feel like, when I'm there, I'm fully engaged, and I want to be there, and I enjoy it a lot. And, I've got 3 children, so it's a bit like respite. I go there, and it's adults. It's amazing, adult chat. and I clear the decks, and then that's it, I'm gone. And then I look forward to the next time I go. But I don't want to hang around when I don't need to. I've got a show coming up at 8 o'clock, and then my next one's at 2 o'clock. But that's 5 hour gap. But actually I don't mind, because there's going to be people for me to talk to. You can pop off to the shop as long as you're back in time. So I don't mind that. But once I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah. And then you go home.
Yeah, and then I go home.
And then what happens?
And then everything stays in the car.
Yeah, I do exactly the same thing.
And I always, because you have to wear a lot of makeup, and I don't like to wear a lot of makeup. See, my thing is I always look too pale. So I'm trying to slap on the bronzer, and you do look a bit like a clown if you have to stop at the garage, and they look at you like, why have you got that much blusher on? Do you know that you've got that much blusher on? But I go in and I just strip it all off, like all that makeup's gone. And then I try to just put it in a box, and when I come out of the studio, I always ring my mum. Because I'm always on a bit of a high, and I feel like she knows, so I talk to her for half an hour or so on the way home, and then by the time I get in, I've chilled out enough, and then I just switch off, and then the next day, depending if the next day's a working day, then just crack on with the orders straight away. Yeah. And then that in itself is a mission.
Yeah. So the orders. I mean, the orders, we need to download them from the system, don't we? Yeah. And they sometimes take a little bit time to trickle through. I don't know if that has to do with something like a processing time for the payments, but sometimes they can take 24 to 40 hours to trickle through. So I know that when we do a Friday show, for example, we don't see the orders till we wouldn't have the orders till Monday. Yeah. So you download all the orders, all the batches of the orders, and then you obviously start packing it. But it's easy to say you start packing it, but it's never that easy, because you need to, depending on what product you have on the show, we supply the packaging. Yeah. Hochanda is paying directly for our shipping, which is great, because we don't have to be reimbursed for that, and there's no I just get flashback from the craft channel when I paid that. So that's never a concern, but the packaging is supplied by us, which is something that not many people, I think, know or understand. Yeah. That the packaging is part of the cost that we cover as suppliers. Yes. It's not that someone strolls in with a big batch of Jiffy bags. Yeah. Unfortunately, so we have to buy ourselves, and we need to have all the correct packaging, and God forbid there is no packaging at the supplier, and really cannot go in something else, and then you need to wait a few days for that packaging to arrive. So you've got that. And from my perspective as well, because a lot of our products are packaged by us here at Craftbox, we try to have everything packaged before the show, but sometimes if it's really busy, we just package them as we pack the orders. Yeah. That's another aspect. So then, when everything is finally packaged, we ask Hochanda for sales orders to be able to cover that the cost of postage, which they cover, but they give us documents to confirm that they covered that. So then we need to book the pickup. So if you have regular pickups with Royal Mail, then that's not a concern. Do you have regular pickups with Royal Mail?
No, only because I have a sorting office where I am. Right. So when I go to pick the children up, I'll put it all in my car and just drop it off on the way. Okay. So actually it means that I can do it on my time. Yeah, yeah. On my time scale, so that works quite nicely for me. But I don't get obviously as many orders as you guys get, especially with one day specials and things like that. In which case there's no way I could take them to the post office. No way.
There's that half the office is covered by one day special, if we have one day special. So we have those picked up, and we have them picked up individually by DPD, Hermes, and Royal Mail. So all of that goes in different piles. All of that needs to be counted, because there are documents that go with it, so that Hochanda is not overcharged. And so there's a lot of paperwork involved in that aspect. Yeah. And then when everything is sent out, then we go to a system, and then we mark those orders as filled, which is all fine. But I think if there's anything I would really like people to know, is one of the things is that the batches of orders that are on the late dispatch and normal dispatch in that system, they're mixed up. Yeah. So for if we have a really busy show and we're really busy in the office, for us it's really hard to go through, say, 700 orders and fish out the ones that are not on delayed dispatch and mark them as shipped. And that's why sometimes we just mark them when everything is shipped, which is not ideal for anyone. And we do get a call sometimes saying, mine is always marked as shipped. Will that be sent? No, unfortunately, it's just I really don't have time to go through 700 orders. I know this is something Hochanda is looking into, so that's that.
Well, I find that I can't prepare a lot of stuff beforehand because I'm a small business.
Yeah.
For instance, if I've got a kit that's got X amount of fabric in it, if that kit doesn't do well, I've still then got that kit like to sell, and I may struggle with that. But if I'm cutting fabric to order, I can put that on my website. I can put meters of that fabric instead of it being in a kit form. I can offer it as fat quarters, half meters, things like that. So for me, it takes me longer, which is why I'm pleased that when orders are done by Royal Mail, it says on their 7 to 10 day shipping. That helps me because I have to cut everything to order. There's no point me preparing beforehand. I learnt that with my first show. I'd cut all these jelly rolls, 40 strip jelly rolls, and I had loads left. And I've only just finished the stock. The stock's now all gone. But in hindsight, I wish I'd have thought about, I could have put that meterage on my website. And now I do. Now I'll literally cut to order, which works for me because a lot of people only want things as fat quarters or half meters. And also, if then I've still got that stock, say 3 or 4 months later, I might have a sale, I might have a Facebook sale, go through that channel. So it is a lot of work when you've got those orders in, and yes, you can have a massive handful, big chunk of orders, and you think that's amazing. It's then processing, and also each order is unique. You might I like to categorize it into things that I can instantly do, and ones that I'm going to have to, they take time, or this is a single product, this is a single product, I can get that one out quickly.
We do exactly the same.
It's the best way, isn't it? Because otherwise you just chasing your tail. Or I'll have everything lined up on my kitchen side, because obviously I work at home, everything's lined up and I can pick and pack, go through the counter. But even then, they're then checked at the end. But it's a lot.
It is a lot.
But it's worth it when people send you pictures of things they've made, or they engage with you on your Facebook page, or they'll send you an email. It's worth it all because those comments are just fabulous. It makes it worthwhile. Like, I've just received the kit and I love it. Amazing.
Yeah, I've got to say, definitely. I've got an email just a day ago saying from a lady who said she just received her paper pad of Christmas Tale, which is our Christmas collection, and we had it on Hochanda, and she said she's a very avid fan of Graphic 45, and she said this is lovely. She just absolutely loved this paper pad, and she said congratulations, such a beautiful collection. So thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah,
so sweet.
For all the negative comments you can get, that one positive comment cancels it all out. Like, you can have some people that that aren't happy about things or whatever, but once you get that person saying you're doing a great job, thank you. And it's difficult because a lot of people find it difficult to praise and they find it easy to criticize. And like, a lot of people won't post positive reviews because they've received the product and they're happy with it, and that's as far as it goes. But if you receive a product you're not happy with it, you're more likely to give a review.
It's 7 times more likely. I heard that when I was working at Cambridge University Press. 7 times more likely to get negative feedback than just to get positive feedback.
So that positive feedback, that person is super happy. Because they're not just happy. Because then people that are just happy, they don't say. But they're super happy, and you think, okay, good, pat on the back. Well
definitely. Definitely. So there is one aspect that of working with TV, shopping TV in a craft industry that we haven't covered, which is the fact that as it stands now, apart from some shows on, say, QVC, we have 2 craft channels dedicated solely to arts and crafts.
Yes.
And these are Hochanda, that we're both on, and Create and Craft, that Crafters Companion and your mum is on. So this is our like connection to it in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how obviously the situation between those two channels, I mean, you'd need to live under the rock to actually not know that there were things happening.
Yes.
That there were certain disagreements, is that the right word? There were just things that were not sitting well with people.
Yes.
On both fronts.
Yeah.
And with viewers as well.
Yeah.
What are your feelings on that?
Well, I feel like if you didn't have two channels, that one channel is not going to cater for everything that you want and everything that everybody wants. The variety that people, you know, it's getting more and more into all this lovely mixed media and, you know, for unicorn spit and the resin and all that stuff. And you just wouldn't have the time for smaller companies like myself to have any airtime. If you think a channel has got, say, 12 hours of airtime, what if it's one channel, who are they going to give that airtime to? They're going to give it to people that are going to give them the revenue that they need to survive. But with with two channels, your chances of having a smaller company come in are a lot higher. And it just means that there's variety. Yeah, if you want to shop in one and you prefer that one, great. If you like to shop at both, great. If there's people you don't like on one and you don't like on the other, that's absolutely fine. My thing is pick and choose what you as the viewer likes, because the one thing I will say is with demos is I've seen it so many times where people have said, I really enjoyed their demo, so I've gone and bought their product from this place, or I've gone and bought a similar product from this place. And while I appreciate that, I completely get it. We're all on a budget. We can only afford what we can afford. What you have to remember is without people purchasing from the channel, directly from the channel doesn't survive. They need people to purchase. So, okay, if you want to buy it from my website instead of Hochanda, that's fine. That's entirely up to you. If you prefer that interaction, fine. But people do need to understand that if you don't buy from the channel and you're only watching for the free demos, that will have an impact on the channel. So I think it's great. I think it's variety, and like for instance, me as a soft crafter, we've got the sewing quarter that you can watch as well, which I find super interesting. And they do a lot of dressmaking, which we don't have on Hochanda. So it's variety. I like it. I like that there's multiple channels. I don't necessarily like the politics behind it, and I don't like the nitpicking and the negativity, and I also don't like the fact that people say, well, I'd never watch that because of this person, or I'd never watch that because of this. I just like to give people a chance. I like to give new companies a chance. If there's something I want to watch on one channel, I'll watch it. If there's something I want to watch on the other channel, I'll watch it. I enjoy both.
I think that's a fair point of view, and a lot of people are really either in Hochanda or Create and Craft camp, and I think it's healthy to have that balance and watch exactly who you want to watch or what you want to watch from either channel. Obviously there are certain preferences. You hear a lot about presenting style. Presenting style at Hochanda, presenting style at Create and Craft, and these things obviously factor in. But a lot of the things that did happen, which would probably, there's no point mentioning all the details in here. If you know, if you don't know, probably better for you. But a lot of the kind of public almost argumenting and then press coverage that happened was probably unnecessary, because for dare I say, average craft, and I consider myself in that category, apart from the fact that I run a business, I don't really want to know about this.
No.
I don't really want to know about all those arguments. I've got enough of my personal drama in my life. To then worry about, who said what and why they said it, and maybe, some rumours that are being spread or things that are being said. Just really, is that really necessary?
Yeah, and I do feel like it got it got too much because, well, as there lots of things are happening, but I found it difficult because a lot of people were saying, this company has moved across and I'll now never watch them again because they're on this channel. But they'll say, but I love the demonstrator. Yeah. And I say, well, do you know, the demonstrator hasn't changed. Yeah. The product hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, they've gone over to a different channel. Maybe you don't like their lighting. Maybe you don't like their counters. That sort of thing. But the demonstrator's still the same. Mm-hmm. So if you still want to support that demonstrator or that small business, then do still watch it, by all means. But if you prefer one channel over there, personally, from a viewer's side of things, I prefer to watch Hochanda. Mm-hmm. I like the setup, I like the lighting, I like the format, I like that it's predictable format. Mm-hmm. I like that they start, there, work down the counter, demo. Mm-hmm. I like that. Nothing changes from that. That's how it is. I enjoy to watch that. But that's not to say that I wouldn't watch something else. Mm-hmm. Like I've watched Debbie Shaw on the Sewing Quarter recently, and that was great. So it's I personally feel there's room for the channels that are there. I don't think there's need for more. I think that it's just right. I just feel like the politics is probably always going to be there, but it's not really for us to worry about, as long as the company that we're working for, whoever it may be, is creating the revenue and can still have us there. Great. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Okay, so I think that brings us to natural conclusion of this episode.
I agree.
If you have any feedback on what we just said, or if you're interested in hearing more, or if you would like to say to us that we've done a great job.
Yes, we like positive feedback. Yeah. Or if you're a demonstrator and you want to come on and be questioned by us.
Definitely.
Let us know.
Yeah, do that as well. Or if you're a big company and want to be questioned by us. If you want to sponsor this podcast.
If you want to sponsor us, we'll wear a t-shirt during the podcast that you won't see.
Oh, one way or another, I have really enjoyed this chat.
Me too.
I think it was great. And if you want to hear more, then we would love to hear from you in either comments, if it is posted on Facebook, or you can follow us. Actually, you can follow us on Facebook.
Yes.
Where can they follow you, Abby?
So Avid Crafts on Facebook, or Abeygale. I have 2 pages. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm a bit like Madonna with the first name, so I'm going for
Abeygale.
Yeah, just Madonna.
Brilliant.
Abeygale or Avid Crafts. Okay. And you?
Craftbox UK, or Creative Craft Academy, or Anna Hersom, the founder of Craftbox, or you can add me as a friend, Anna Hersom, as well. So here we
go. And do you know, the bonus of today is I have been trying to steal quite a lot of Anna's stock.
There's going to be some searching.
There's going to be a pat down at the door.
Trying to avoid that word. That's fine.
Brilliant.
Oh, lovely. Well, hopefully we will do another episode, and then we will hear you say things to you. Then
we'll hear you say things to you. Yeah. You will hear for us.
Because normally you would say, "Oh, hopefully see you soon," but we're not going to see you. But we will hopefully speak to you soon.
Yeah, we will speak to you.
Bye, everyone.